Order 2024, March. Eduard Wagner. Forward. Far be it from me to attack or judge anyone here. Rather, it is my view of things, as I interpret it below. It may well be that one or the other thinks that this is a radical view of things. But sometimes it seems to me that you bury your head in the sand. Not reacting will resolve itself. I think this thread runs through the whole of the scriptures. As I said, this is not paternalism of anyone, but my opinion on various things at home and abroad. March 2024. Land use in the Union and Austria. The EU envisions restricting land use, or rather the concreting of nature, by 2050 to such an extent that no new areas are added. And how do they do it in Austria? For years, a goal has been discussed to reduce this from 12 hectares to 2.5 hectares, but there is no agreement on this, as is always the case. Now, however, the federal states have come on the scene and think they can counteract this with a framework law. Of course, this proposal lacks the number of 2.5 hectares to which it is to be reduced and, as a result, sanctions if this target is exceeded. Now, however, our government is making 1 billion available for the construction industry, which will probably end up in soil sealing again. There are so many buildings, both here and in the Union, that could be revitalized, but they are allowed to fall into disrepair. Another aspect of the whole thing is that there is an enormous concentration in Austria, for example in the food trade, which is also to be welcomed in part, but what does the customer get out of it? However, the prices for it are dictated by a handful of corporations and it is only about the profits to be made and not exactly about the best offer. Shopping centers are being created on the outskirts of towns, some of which can only be visited by car, which is also not conducive to the climate, and the town centers are avoided and decayed. The construction industry should think about whether it would not be cheaper to revitalize town centers with the appropriate infrastructure than to pour concrete over on the outskirts. Trump and the Supreme Court. As expected, the appeal against him regarding the deletion of individual states was upheld. They did not want to allow him on the electoral lists, which concerned the candidacy for the primary. But since the former president had already filled this Supreme Court of the USA with followers of his own during his last term in office, this decision did not come as a complete surprise. What is remarkable about this verdict, however, is that it was passed unanimously, i.e. also with the votes of the Democrats. The reason for the cancellation in individual states was that he was seen involved in the storming of the Capitol in January 2020.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?